Citation, Gwilm. Salvinorin A Journeys. The Entheogen Review. Winter Solstice 1998 74, 90-2. Around 1 to 1.25 mg Salvinorin A ingested with tin foil, straw, lighter method. Immediate and strong effects. Mouth quickly dries. I have never had this experience with Salvinorin A before. The taste is very apparent, and seems to permeate my whole system. I know I am in for it for sure. I turn off the light and lie down in bed. Listening to Steve Roach's The Magnificent Void. The music has strong tidal effect on the direction that the experience flows towards, and can be seen as an overriding factor in the early part of the experiment. There is a subtle interplay within sound structures, and I observe that one of the most telling of conditions for Salvinorin A is sonic. Sounds absolutely shape the experience for good or for distraction. If the sound structure impedes the flow, go without it. Nevertheless, a skilled guide could lead one deeply into trance with the correct vocalizations. Sinking into revelry, my thoughts take on hues of purple and blues that border into green. Thoughts appear as a latticework, discreetly patterned as if they were the finest hand-worked lace. Moving forward through the patterns, the loss of ego deepens but body sensation heightens, so there is no loss of somatic awareness. Calm, warm detachment thoughts flow with incredible beauty and beingness. Walking through cool undergrowth, pushing through various plant forms purple, blue, and green, with myriads of eyes within leaves. All aware of presence, plant beings flow and merge through shared thought fields and dissolve. Everything is tidal now, that which is aware, that which perceives and is perceived, all partaking of the essence of the eternal now. Joy and subtle pleasure is taken in each thought that is shared across the vastness of this hall of beings. Faces everywhere, oscillating into a kaleidoscope of personages that flow and morph in and out of thought shapes into mandalic friezes. They dissolve into themselves again, regenerating over and over until pass through into the singing light. Then the universe arches over, redolent with the smell of plant and animal life, vibrant with beauty and being. Experiences flow in infinite directions, twisting, turning, with the pattern of consciousness etched into everything with infinite detail and depth. Everything, every being, held in consummate beauty, the essence of deity flowing through all simultaneously. Every thought is transparent and filled with bliss. Slowly, across eons of time and bliss, the self reasserts itself, surfacing after an hour and a half, a trailing wisp of the various thought forms it had been submerged in. Great peace and warmth pervades the system of being. Sleep slowly rises up and recaptures the self, again to submerge it into the Salvinorin A flow that moves steadily through the depths of the soul and subconscious. The night is filled with various dream shapes. Morning comes as a pleasant surprise. In hindsight, one finds that you can get up out of bed, attend to any business with high clarity, and return into the revelry of the Salvinorin A space by laying down again and turning inward with the ally. While I have heard about this phenomena when using the leaves, this contradicts much that I have read regarding Salvinorin A. Maybe at a higher dose some ability strikes. Also, as mentioned before, sounds have a big influence on this experience. There is an interesting side to this. During the duration of the various experiences there has begun to be inexplicable knocking going on in our house. I actually got up to investigate, and walked through the house trying to find the locus of the noise. It is as if someone or something is vying for attention. There are other sounds also occurring that are yet indescribable but reoccur again and again. This is a phenomenon that no one has reported in my knowledge. It is as if one was opening up to presences that surround us which we normally don't recognize. I am beginning to feel that they anticipate and are eager for these forays, for some acknowledgement and communication. As the familiarity with the territory grows, so does the ways I can express it. The psychic phenomena is interesting. I realize that I have been hearing these noises pretty much all along with the Salvinorin A and occasionally with Salvia Divinorum leaves. What can this portend? I will be moving up to 1.5 milligrams next. I am beginning to get the sensation of mapping out this realm. For a while I didn't seem to get much past certain areas, and now these walls are crumbling. The psychedelic nature of this substance is phenomenally different than any of the other hosts that I have tried. It is noisy like the lysergamides, but in a bantering, gabby way instead of issuing large, almost solemn, profundities. The beginning is almost always hilarious, shapes, noises, bells, whistles, a veritable toontown of characters jumping out of the woodwork. Very irreverent. Then it moves on, of course, but not before the entity amuses itself at your expense. 1.25 to 1.5 milligrams of Salvinorin A, very apparent taste immediately. Unlike previous Salvinorin A experiments, this one seizes me before I can get the light off and my eyes covered with blindfold. New edition. My being is quickly hived into infinite parts, flailing all over the place in what appears to be a very bizarre 1950s scenario filled with textures, smells, visuals of that time predominated by a female presence. The presence bears the most striking resemblance to Donna Reed or the archetypal American mother and a myriad of other female expressions of that era. In fact, there is infinite variations on this theme occurring in a fractalizing frenzy. This manifestation is very loquacious, wagging her finger into my infinite faces and making cryptically rude remarks. This strikes me as very hilarious, my whole being lights up with laughter. This quickly dissipates into another cascade of cartoon-like thoughts and emerging patterns. There seems to be very little of the usual cavern/tunnel effect, more of a restless roving over fields of thought and consciousness. Feelings shift and change. This experience is incredibly strong. A mild panic rears its pointed little head in greeting, and then disappears when I relax more into it and allow the Salvinorin A to take me where it wants. Then the Salvinorin A state takes off at a gallop. It seems to be the most intense cartoonish psychedelic experience. Feelings magnify into absolute grotesque parodies and psychic pratfalls. Constant, rapid shifting is going on, too quick to grasp. The flailing finally dissipates about 15 minutes into the experience and my thoughts become more focused. It seems very playful at this time, taunting and teasing me deeper into its web, yet for some odd reason the loss of self is not so pronounced. There is a strong twisting sensation to the right, accompanied by a prickly sensation through my system. I take off the blindfold as it seems to be sinking deeply into my skull. My skin is literally swimming in warmth except for my feet, which are taking on an arctic feeling. I become aware of my flesh as being an entity unto itself, conscious unto its own being, holding its own wisdoms and somatic dreams. Visions of beauty and sensation roll over it. Every cell seems to have an eye, peering out and at itself replicated into infinity. Undulating currents of desire wash over it and through it, a deep hunger for sensation and interplay. Slowly, the cavern appears, but instead of going into it, it plays to my being as if it is an audience. Warm ambers, browns and traces of green predominate, faces appear and reappear, twisting into wondrous shapes that have sparkling eyes of red and gold that flick away in an instant. Over great lengths of time, the self reasserts itself. Feelings are very relaxed, tensions are gone. No great insights, it was too rapid for that, but a truly unique experience. As quickly as it came on, it is slower to leave. After an hour, I move about, with halos of color encrusting every object and space throughout the house. The experience rides on me, I feel it still coursing throughout my being as I head off for sleep. I am amazed at the gifts this plant substance offers up. Of all the plant entheogens, it is the most playful, almost, should I say, dryatic in nature? Something profound moves under her surface humor. A lustrous joy and knowledge is revealing itself as I venture further in her company. Around 1.5 to 1.75 mg Salvinorin A, slight feeling of trepidation. This is a hallmark feeling for me, carrying meanings and thought that are complex, redundant of fear and discovery. Fear, as the dose level is working upward, discovery as something is about to be revealed. Music playing, Lorena McKennett's Dante's Prayer, just so appropriate at this nexus. Ingested the Salvinorin A with slight modification, used a straw that was longer this time, about 3.5 inches instead of 2 inches. Sitting on the edge of the bed, watching the crystals melt and the Salvinorin A slithers up the straw even before I can taste it, everything slows down. This is strange, stronger than before, it has grabbed me before I am ready. Why am I so surprised? I reach over to turn the light off and my hand stretches like rubber. Warmth envelops me in a crescendo of light blue and cream streams of luminous ribbon of light. After what seems a decade, my head feels the pillow reaching up and taking it gently. As my head settles down, the top part divides and hives, again and again. It is hydra-like, whipping back and forth in a gale force wind of consciousness, until it is Medusa-like, every part of the head now snake-like, writhing with faster and faster force. Everything is cream and light blue, cartoonish and gibberish as each head sends back images and sensations into the central part of the being. It is a form of collective consciousness. I'm aware of myself and the room with my love lying beside me. At the same time it's a maelstrom hydra, 1,000 upon 1,000-headed serpent being under a huge dome of sky, writhing in an ever-quickening and slowing dance on a plane that stretches into infinity. The music calls out, a familiarity to hold to. I wanted to let entirely go, but it calls with such infinite sadness. My love's breathing echoes and resounds, voluminous and full of beauty. Pinioned between these two sonic anchors, the serpent heads slowly morph into each other until singularity occurs. Then, for a moment utter peace. All of a sudden, an entity rockets into consciousness from behind, pulling all along with it and into it from the right side as it streaks past. All thoughts and self runs into it like mercury pooling, silvery and voluptuous with movement. Beingness flowed out as the observer self watched with detachment. This being that has appeared takes on the appearance of a man in middle age, bent on going somewhere quick. Had the beingness that moments before been Hydra-like now attached to an astral traveler passing through a shared zone, a place where all of this plays out. Then, as quickly as it had come, the being looks back into me with deep detachment and departs, streaking away leaving trails of our shared momentary consciousness bubbling, to coalesce into moving pools of light. The mind moves from thought to thought, like a sailing craft on a sea, tacking back and forth, into whirlpools and out again. All flows with such ease and warmth, in and out of different beings and states of consciousness. The universe is liquid and malleable, all life flows with a harmonious ringing. How would it be best expressed? A sloshing sound? Liquid sounds take form everywhere and whip and pull consciousness into pools and depths, blending away personality and recreating beingness into myriad creatures and situations, all going on simultaneously. All moves and reshapes into new and unique beings, momentary expressions of life form for beauty's sake and then submerge back into the oceans of consciousness. Evolution is played out over and over, not as predator and prey, but as co-players in a dance of delight and shared mutual joy and recognition. Awareness flickers off and on, beingness strobes on and off. Day into night, into infinite play and dance. Consciousness winks out, then refocuses back over and over. Within the strobing, the Salvinorin A exposing itself as it opens up, and I see within it a flow, a river of salvia consciousness, and how it has established a strata within my being that is now ever present. It is a flowing universe, river and sky-like, both liquid and cloud. As if I've opened up a trapdoor, just below everyday thoughts. Ever present, exalting consciousness, teaching, playing and guiding. It is a love that flows into my being whether I allow it to or not. Her face is revealed, glowing, entrancing, singular. I cannot recall how it all ended. I drifted into sleep during the night, but as I write this now today I feel the flow still. I think it has always been a part of me. Now I know that entheogenic flow we all become aware of it has been with me most of my life. But this has distinct elements of something new. A different creature altogether. It is present in the trees, in the land, in the sky, but also as part of shared awareness. It envelops and comes whispering up through consciousness like smoke. An isness, ever present, an Akkadian stream, behind thoughts seen in faces, shared since the beginning. It is the river within the soul intertwined with all thought, conscious, loving and completely enveloping. A capricious being, who is only too happy to come along with you as the guide, as a light, as the teacher to creatures of thought and desire. Will.